Well, the rise and fall of the American Empire. Why I call that? Well, I've been saying for years that America is the new Roman Empire. I don't think that we're the only empire, as it were, that's very similar to the ancient Roman Empire of the imperial period. But I see a lot of things that are very similar. I'm not talking about the technology. Of course, we stole the technology from them. Pretty much anybody that's European based, if they're from Europe, after the Roman Empire fell, everyone still used the Roman technology, and they continue doing it, even if they destroyed a lot of the cities and called it, within Christianity, declared anything Roman to be blasphemous, right? Here's the thing. When the Roman Empire was reaching their pinnacle point, when the downfall was happening, several things were going on with the empire, which was they expanded their borders too far, and they had their troops scattered too thinly across their borders throughout the hinterland and also through the Rhineland and all that to defend their border. Alright? Then you had was a problem with two forces. People that were on the inside of the empire wanted out. They wanted to be separate countries because you had these little wannabe monarchs. They weren't. Some were actually monarchs within the empire where they're allowed to rule, except you have to follow the official imperial laws. So there was people that wanted out. They felt like they want to be separate from the empire. Just didn't want to be Roman, as it were. They associate themselves with their own area. Say, no, we don't want to be part of the empire. Then there was the people on the exterior. They wanted to be inclusive, want to be part of the empire. Those were the two forces. And then there was the third force. The ones that wanted to do was destroy it. There was people that were inside that wanted to destroy the empire from the inside out. And then there was the other force, the parts that wanted to destroy it that were on the outside of it. Go inwards to destroy it, from the outside in. So you have these type of things, militarized way. Then you had with social problems and stuff. Plus there was gangs. Okay, plus this period was called bread and circuses. Alright, the reason why it's called that is at this point they were at pretty much the pinnacle or the height of the imperial realm, of prosperity and everything. But it was at the tipping point where it was descending and it became madness. And before the madness really struck and before the collapse, way before, the period was called bread and circuses. Why I call it that and why it actually is called this in historical terms. Even within, historians called this period the bread and circuses. Reason why is that the empire did was gave out free food to the populace. They figured if the people are fed, they're not going to uprise. You give them enough food, they're going to be satisfied. Alright? One of the needs of people is enough to eat, is food. You give them enough to eat, they'll be fine. Give them some food. Yeah. The second thing is entertainment. That's where the circus part is. So, at that time they decided that, within the city of Rome itself, they had free days, and later on it became all the time. It was entertainment was free, but people still went in bought food and whatever from the merchants, but it was like free entry. You can watch the games and whatever, all the events for free. But like, food you had, that was there, from concession stands. You bought it from the vendors. Plus, people did when they went to games. They openly gambled on everything. They did. It's not as dark and dreary of the games as what a lot of people have been telling you, or like history books try to teach you about what really happened. Don't always believe everything in the history books, because a lot of it, they just kind of glance it over and mash the whole entire period into one, and like the whole entire Roman Empire, or even the Republic part, all smashed together as blatantly saying, "Oh, it was always like this." Like, no, each period was within the Romans' existence was different over time. So, why I'm saying that about the empire of once collapsing and how it relates to today, or at least with America anyways, you can kind of see this similar into other countries. Why America particularly? Well, I happen to be in America, so, and I see the same thing. We have is an uprising, many different uprisings. We've been having it pretty much through the 20th century on to now. Yeah, we always had uprisings since before this was the United States, before it was a separate sovereign nation. Even before the original Articles of Confederation. I'm not talking about the Confederate South. I mean the original Articles of Confederation that was set before we was a unified national government, of where all the states are included instead of like separate countries that are loosely connected with treaties, and that's how the United States was. Well, enough of that. See, right now we have is an economic collapse. We have our troops are everywhere in the world. We're pretty much the police of the world. You'd say we're just like the Romans, because we have bases everywhere like the Empire did, and expanded our borders. No, we didn't really expand our borders. Our borders are actually larger than the Roman Empire. Most of the continent of North America is the United States, except for we have only really two borders. Our northern border, which is Canada, and the south is Mexico. That's the two other nations were bordering us, and Canada is an ally, so is Mexico. I'll get into those countries later about how in another video about how we're connected to them and why, in case if you never know. At this time, I'm seeing, like I said, an economic collapse, just like during the Roman Empire, during their bread and circuses. You had was an influx of people wanting in and out at the same time, plus high population, and there was, not enough jobs. Story, you can say, like beginning of an economic collapse, and the populace was not happy, so the empire fed. Well, same thing here. Think about like with the Great Depression. Even now, since the Great Depression to now, we have places to give food to the homeless, to downtrodden people who are in need. Not just in our country, we also give aid and food to other nations, even to people that are literally where their country treats them as outsiders and trash and shit, such as like what happened with Ethiopia. A lot of Americans think that all Ethiopians are really skinny and starving. No, that is only the very poor minority that happens to live in these primitive tribal, villages And the nation of Ethiopia is very modern, like the rest of European society or America or whatever. Most of the world, we have modern buildings, modern equipment, cars, electricity. Most of Ethiopia, in their cities, they do have these things. They're very, just like you and I, just have the same fucking technology. But why don't they have the decency to help their own people? Why nations like us come in and help them? We have organizations that have food drops, and we have to have security to protect these food brigades because it's not really their government that's doing this, but they have people that live in the cities, have food, have money and stuff, have guns and taking them over. That's why there's still a starving population, not severe. We're helping them. We also have these things in America to help our own people. And sometimes it feels like it's not enough to help people. I'll get into that in another video of how to really help people in need. How to do it correctly, what needs to be done. So, like I said, the bread part, the giving of the food to help pacify the populace, isn't that the same? Like when the Great Depression happened, they did was do this, and they had luckily Roosevelt, FDR, he did, so you don't mix Teddy with Franklin, because they're both presidents, but at two different times. So FDR, Franklin Delano, and Roosevelt, he tried every project to get us working. He didn't think about, give the people money and whatever, or food and whatever, or free, a lot of stuff free. What he wanted to do was, of course, most of it was the people that brought these organizations, create these organizations, these charity things to help feed the masses, the poor. He wanted to do was get them a job. He created jobs for these people, even though there was a huge economic collapse in America at that time. And we still have an economic collapse to this day. The difference is the president at that time, FDR, tried every freaking type of project he can think of. I say freaking, effing, whatever, fucking damn project. Bleepity bleep blop. He tried. And some of the projects worked, some of them failed miserably, but at least he tried. Because he knew that you feed somebody, they're going to be okay for a little bit. But to help a person, psychologically or even emotionally, especially men, you give them a job, a sense of well-being, a sense of, hey, I'm actually supporting myself. That actually does more for the person. It does. So what we have now, like I said, an economic collapse is that there's not enough jobs. All the jobs are going out of state, and everything is. Hey, Mishka. Everything is being transferred in other countries. Even all of our production is not even done in America anymore. It isn't. So that's what happened. And plus we're going into semi-free entertainment. Now, even the free entertainment is being taken away. So are we any better than the Empire? Good morning. So it looks like bread and circuses is happening all over again. But is this the downfall of the new Roman Empire, the American Empire? I want to say that this isn't a downfall. This is just a bump in the road. that will continue this experiment, this grander experiment, which is of the human condition of, well, this idea of a free nation that is by the people, for the people. Will it be such? I hope for the best. If I would like to know that within, let's say, 30 years from now, would this be any better? Will the dreams that we had about 2015, from all the way back, in 1985, of what 2015 was supposed to be, will we actually have hoverboards that really, really work as hoverboards, not what we have today, which is a really old technology. Oh well. Will things be better? I hope so. Till then, may whatever happen be as peaceful as it can be.